Hey guys, do you like funny video game quotes? Well, check out my book, A Winner Is You, the funniest video game quotes with snarky commentary. It has everything from A Winner Is You, All Your Base Belong to Us, and especially, Are You a Bad Enough Dude to Save the President, and a lot more. So make sure to check out the book in the link below, and if you purchase the physical version from Amazon, you get the Kindle version completely for free. It's one hell of a bargain, so check it out in the link below. Take care. Hey guys, Ryan here, broadcasting all the way from space here for awesome video game memories aboard the Popcorn Rocket, and we're here to talk about the PC and a whole bunch of awesome games that came out for it. And we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of awesome PC classics like Doom, Full Throttle, and Return to Zork, and many more, so enjoy! Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. I'm Ryan, and the game we're going to talk about today is Return to Zork. So I remember in the early 90s, when you would buy a computer, it would not actually come with sound. You had to buy a sound card with it, like the Sound Blaster, the Ad-Lib. I mean, if you remember that, you're like totally old school. Test speaker from left to right. Put IRQ at 220. So my dad, he wanted to have sound and a CD-ROM in the computer, so he bought this thing called a Multimedia Kit for $250. It came with a 16-speed CD-ROM, a sound card, 2 speakers, and 2 games. One of them was Return to Zork, and the other was Mega Race. So I admit I've never played the original text Zork adventures, and I remember putting this game in and, being totally blown away by seeing, actual people talking, like, "Oh, the sweepstakes winner, I've been looking forward to, no, Yeah, so probably the best part of Return to Zork is like the super duper awesome cast of characters in this game. Like you have, like the wizard Trembile, you have the lighthouse keeper, you have the teacher, you have the blacksmith, and my personal favorite, Booze Miller. Want some rye? Of course you do. Yeah, like when my cousin came over to play this game, like we would just like laugh so hard at the Booze Miller part. We kept on saying, "Want some rye? Of course you do." And I still say it to this day. But unfortunately, because the Multimedia Kit only came with the CD-ROM of the game and nothing else, I kind of got stuck at the part where you go to the teacher and you have to answer a question from the manual, which I didn't have. So I could not beat the game for another year until I discovered the existence of the internet. So I pretty much told myself while playing this game, I'm going to beat this game completely legit without any cheats. I just need that one cheat to get past the teacher. And so I played pretty far in until I reached the forest, which I did not know how to navigate, and I got lost again. So I remember going to one of the earliest iterations of GameFAQs, and I'm looking over the guide for Return to Zork on how to get past the forest. So I remember one of the most memorable things about the game was, when you reach the King of the Trolls, and I'm like, dude, that's Wayne from the Wonder Years, man! He's a troll in this game! So I finally reached the end of the game, and I got to the part where you have to toss all the items in order to cross the bridge, and to my disappointment, I did not have enough items. because I think I tossed away the steak you find in the fridge and I had to start the game all over again. So, kind of after repeating the entire game again, this time keeping every single item and not throwing anything away until the end, I finally got to the end of the game, and it took me forever on how to get past the survivor puzzle at the end, but eventually I figured it out and I was finally able to beat Return to Zork, one of the greatest click adventure games ever on the PC. Yeah, so like years later, when I was in college, I was kind of on a big retro gaming binge, so I was able to get Return to Zork complete in the box, which I still have with me right now, and I was able to get it for like $5, and I was able to play it through like one of the earliest versions of DOSBox. So I kind of confess I've never played the follow-up games like Zork Inquisitor or Zork Zero or any of the other spin-off games like that, because I heard they don't really capture the magic of the original Return to Zork. And that was Return to Zork, one of the greatest PC games of all time, and you can pick this game up for a really cheap price over at GOG.com, and it's ready to play after you install it. Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. I'm Ryan, and today's game is Doom! The original. So Doom, the first-person shooter, released in 1993, which stopped workplace productivity because of LAN parties. Alright, so let me kind of give you a little insight on my religious upbringing. I mean, I'm not a super religious person, but when I was a kid, I went to a Christian school, and my friend told me about this game where you go into space and you kill demons, and hearing that was like, that like totally blew my mind, and I have to play this game because I'm going to be an agent of God and I'm going to kill demons with a gun! So my friend was bragging like, you know, this game is so cool, you get to kill demons with your rocket launcher, and then the last boss is Satan sitting on his throne, and then you get to shoot him with a machine gun, and it's so cool! Which wasn't really true. I mean, the last boss was kind of this giant brain. And the closest thing you get to fighting Satan is when you fight the Cyber Demon on top of the Tower of Babel in episode 2. So it was 1994, I went to my friend's house to play this game on his 486 PC, and I remember hearing those breathing sounds from the soldiers. Like, holy crap, this game is kind of freaky, and like they're demon possessed, so I had to kill them and stuff. And then I remember seeing the imps and the demons. I was like, holy crap, this is like blowing my mind. Like, I'm playing a game in like 3D. I mean, I actually played this before Wolfenstein 3D. So my friend, you know, he had the shareware version. He lent it to me on the floppy disk, so I went to install it at home. But on my home computer, I didn't exactly have a sound card or speaker, so I had to play it on the PC speaker for quite a long time. And it was kind of funny, like the gun would make bloop bleep blop sounds like bloop bleep bleep bloop. It was kind of funny, but you know, my dad bought a sound card a couple of months later, and I was able to enjoy Doom in its full glory. Yeah, so you know, back in 1994-95, this is back when you can only get the original Doom. You have to buy the shareware version on like a floppy disk or a CD-ROM, and then when you exit the game, it gives you this address where you can send money to. And you know, I asked my parents, hey, can I send money to buy this really demonic game where you kill demons? And they were like, no! Don't worry, my parents loosened up about a year later, so I was able to buy the game just fine. Yeah, so I was in an electronics boutique at the mall before GameStop acquired them, and there was this kid, he got the shareware version of Doom, and he was saying, Mom, can I buy this? And then the mom was like, son, I want you to buy a game that doesn't teach you how to kill something. So I wonder if that kid grew up playing a lot of games where he killed a lot of stuff. He most likely did. Yeah, so anyways, the first year of playing this game, I would only play the game with the cheat codes like IDDQD, IDKFA, IDSPI, SPOPD. Wow, I still remember all that shit. Mostly because I was terrible at first-person shooters. And then I played Wolfenstein 3D, which actually had no cheat codes. So after playing Wolfenstein 3D, which I'll cover in a separate video from this, I actually went and played Doom without the cheat codes, and it was actually a lot more fun that way. Yeah, because I remember the trick was to winning Doom, even on the highest difficulty, was you just have to save a lot. Save and restart, kind of like save states in emulators, but just gotta save. If you die, restart again. So for the longest time, you can only play the shareware version of Doom unless you ordered the other episodes, but in 1996, they released the Ultimate Doom. I remember walking into Electronics Boutique, and I saw that box. I was like, whoa, I can play all of the episodes now? And it was pretty cheap. It was only like 30 bucks. I bought it. My parents didn't really care. And I remember playing the other episodes. Playing the first level of the third episode. It sounded like a certain Pantera song, which I can't play because of Content ID. Hashtag WTFU. But also, the Ultimate Doom included a fourth episode, Thy Flesh Consumed. So now let's get into my personal favorite moments of playing Doom. I remember at the end of the first episode, after you kill the 2 Barons of Hell, you go into this room, and then you end up dying, because it's supposed to bring you down into hell. But I remember using the cheat codes, and it's kind of this room that you can't really escape. Yeah, so probably one of the most memorable parts of the original Doom was going to the last level of episode 2, which was called the Tower of Babel, and you had rocket launchers, and you had to fight the Cyber Demon. I remember how crazy that fight was, and I remember not really being that great at the controls, but I still persevered through it anyways, so I kept dying until I learned how to strafe. But that was one of the best battles in any first-person shooter. Firing rockets at this hulking demon who shoots rockets back at you with the skeleton heads trying to get in your way, and it was pretty intense, man. So I remember at the end of episode 3 when you have to fight the Spider Mastermind, which my friend told me was Satan on his throne, but it's more of this giant alien brain that's connected to hell in some way. But it's not Satan. I remember not being able to beat this thing, without the cheat codes for the longest time, even though I had the BFG, because this thing would freaking shoot me, it would shoot me to death. So I developed a strategy where there's other enemies across the arena, so I kind of ran in it. I ran in sight, but then I ran to the other enemies, and so he would shoot the Barons of Hell and the Kako demons right before getting to me, but I would just blast away with my BFG, and he was gone. And then I saw my pet bunny impaled, and the ending. Oh my god! I missed the pet bunny. Yeah, so I remember Thy Flesh Consumed. It's definitely a lot harder than the previous episodes, but not super difficult. I mean, the same strategy where I would save the game and reload the game, and then and I would just proceed from there. Yeah, so Doom had a really awesome variety of weapons. I would say my favorite weapons were the shotgun, I love the machine gun and the rocket launcher, and the BFG. And we all know what BFG stands for. And if there was one thing that was really awesome about Doom, was the modding community. I mean, I remember downloading the modding software where you can create your own levels, and I was really terrible at it, but I downloaded this really cool bowling alley level where the barrels were the pins and you had a rocket launcher at the start, and which was really fun. But I was really terrible at making levels, so I just kind of downloaded a whole bunch of crazy levels. So I confess, back in the day, I never really played this game online with any friends because that friend that introduced me to Doom kind of became an asshole, so I never spoke to him again, so I didn't really have anyone to play Doom with up until the Xbox Live version came out, and I was actually able to play some games before people stopped playing. Yeah, because I heard back in the day the multiplayer for this game was even bigger than the actual game itself. I mean, people would play this at LAN centers, they would have LAN parties, and it would lead to decreased productivity in workplaces. I mean, why would you install Doom on your work computer, though? So I replayed Doom pretty recently, and I have to admit, it still really holds up to this day, despite kind of the dated graphics. Because that feeling you get when you shoot a rocket launcher at a zombie soldier and see them implode from the inside out is still pretty fucking awesome. And one of my favorite things about this game were the gruesome enemy deaths. Like I mentioned earlier, where you shoot a rocket launcher at a soldier and they explode from the inside out. When you kill the Kako demon, its eye falls out blah, 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 and then you kill a demon and it's blah, and then the Barons of Hell melt, and then you kill the Spider Mastermind, it goes blah. Oh man, I can just watch those things forever. Yeah, so Doom, you can still get this game anywhere. I mean, you can get the Xbox Live version, which is really good, even though nobody really plays on Xbox Live anymore. I mean, you can get the Ultimate Doom on Steam, and the modding community is still really alive for the game. So I recommend, downloading a whole bunch of levels, especially the bowling alley level if I can find it again. Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. I'm Ryan.
I'm Damien.
And we're here to talk today about Diablo 2.
Where to start with this one? Because I have a lot of stories about this.
Yeah, you have a lot of stories. Well, I'll kind of start. When the game first came out in 2000, I didn't know if my computer could run it because I had a Pentium 1 150 megahertz. So, it could play the original Diablo, but I didn't know if it could play 2. So I kind of stayed away from 2 until 2006 when I finally upgraded my computer.
I think that's when I finally started playing around 2006 as well, because I was never like on the edge. I never had like the console right away when it was new. I never, and then like PC gaming, that was like my first PC game I got into.
Right.
And then when I got to the expansion, I'd already been out. But yeah, I remember playing that on my E-machine.
You have an E-machine? You had an E-machine?
Yeah, I still have that E-machine.
Oh my god.
It still works. It's a Frankenstein, but it still works.
Those things were like $1,000 when they came out.
Yeah, but it came, like, I didn't know any better. Like, that was like, hey guys, I really want this. Can we, like, instead of giving me several presents, just get one thing and I'll help pitch in 2? Like, that was my Christmas gift. Yeah.
Well, just as long as you could play Diablo 2 on it, right?
Yo, I didn't even get it planning on playing games. I just, like, I wanted a computer. And, I remember having to gift wrap my own E-machine. But it was a cheap E-machine. It had an Athlon 2 processor, I think.
Now that's old school right there.
I don't even remember how much little RAM it had originally.
Probably like 16 gig.
No, you kidding?
No, 16 gigs is like...
That's massive. I don't think motherboards could handle that much back in the day. Maybe they could, I don't know, but that's a lot. No,
16 megs. There you go.
256, maybe about 12, I don't know.
Well, anyways, yeah, I remember when Diablo 2 came out, everybody was playing this game, and I felt left out because my computer just could not run this thing.
Oh, that feeling. For me, it was different. Like, all my friends were talking about it, and they would talk to, like, I actually knew girls back then. No, they would like, we'd meet different people, like random people, and they'd be like, oh, you know Diablo? And they would start talking.
Yeah. And
I was just finally like, alright, enough, no. What is this Diablo?
Yeah, I actually remember this Korean couple met on Diablo 2 and got married because of that.
Dang.
I wonder if they're still together.
Probably not. Don't use it. That's true. But yeah, Diablo 2, I got into it way late, and the expansion had already been out. And I remember seeing the Druid class and it transformed into werewolf. It wasn't like Wild Druid where it transformed into bear, even though you can, or a bear or cat. It was a bear or a werewolf. And I remember you can have your own pack of wolves. And I was like, I didn't even want to play any other class before.
Oh, really?
And that was before I learned the class wasn't that viable. Like, you could play it up to a certain level, and after that, it's crap.
Oh man, yeah. When I first started playing, I just kind of went with a generic, like paladin class. What about you?
Druid.
A druid.
I was like, werewolf? Sold.
Yeah, what I remember about this game was, I remember the original Diablo, if you kill all the monsters on a floor, like they don't come back. But what's great about Diablo 2 is you can play and the monsters respawn, which is very easy to gain experience.
And the random generated maps.
Yeah.
But that was online only. You could play it offline, and then you wouldn't have the monsters respawn.
Right, exactly. I remember like the first chapter where you go back to the town for the first game, Tristram. It's all in ruins. Griswold's a zombie. Like you probably remember that, but
I remember that, and I remember opening town portals, trying to kill Griswold for the first time, and having to run back and forth to town portals because he hit hard.
Yeah, he did.
If you didn't know what you were doing, you died a lot on Griswold.
I know. Yeah, I died a lot too.
And then there was a little area with Deckard Cain. Oh, first time meeting Deckard Cain, I was like, who is this guy? Yeah. Deckard Cain? He's a dick. But the little area with the fire in there, I used to always like, why am I dying? I was standing in the fire.
Right. Yeah, I also remember. I remember the second chapter in the desert. Like you had to kill these like beetles.
The lightning bugs.
Yeah, the lightning bugs. I hated those things.
I never. You know what? Lightning was okay with me. It was always slowing effects, frost and slow, because I played the werewolf a lot.
Yeah.
And it really slowed his attack speed, and that always got me.
Yeah, because I remember also in that desert level, if you wanted to find the boss, like that random, like the random generator, like I had to go all over the desert to find, like which one is the boss.
The last part, we have to go into the other dimension.
Yeah.
But you had to go into the right chamber.
Yeah,
exactly. To get the right portal. You can actually like look in the quest tracker, even though I didn't even know there was a quest tracker until like way later, and it shows you which chamber to go into, like the symbol. But back in the day, I would just go into all of them and guess and hope I was right, because I never bothered reading quests or really. Yeah. What's funny is like even though I didn't read the quest or anything, like I still like the story like better for Diablo 2 than 3.
Yeah, I can agree there.
But yeah, man, lots of hours just spent lost, like tracking back and forth with the map open. Like, what did I miss? Looking for that little detail, that like the little opening or whatever that you missed.
Yeah, also Diablo 2 was way bigger than Diablo 1, so it was very easy to get lost in this game. And you wanted to explore every single corner too.
No, not after a while. After a while, I was just like, no, just give it to the next level.
I know. Yeah, I remember the third chapter not being as hard as the second. I think that's the chapter where the
jungle with the flares? Are you kidding me? The little fetish flares guys?
Yeah.
Running around with the knives? No, those guys killed me all the time.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Well, I was a paladin, so it wasn't that hard for me.
Oh, that was a druid. I didn't know any better. They would run around and just like stab me and kill me all the time. Those guys are nasty.
Yeah, like, was that the chapter also where you had to fight one of Diablo's brothers?
That's the ending. I think you fought Diablo himself.
Yeah, I remember you fight Diablo himself at the end, because, he was...
Who'd you fight first, Mephisto or Diablo?
I actually think you fight Mephisto, because I think you fight Baal in the expansion.
Yeah, Baal was in the expansion.
Yeah, so Mephisto was in Diablo too. And I remember he wasn't too hard.
Neither was Diablo.
Yeah, Diablo was pretty easy.
Well, it depends on what level you're talking about. The first level, the game definitely gets a lot harder.
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
Start moving up in the tiers.
So on the expansion, I actually never finished the expansion.
Why not? I'm like, why not?
I don't know. I was in college at the time, so I had to study for tests rather than play Diablo 2. Then I just kind of let it go by the wayside.
What studying? Dude, I remember losing my life to Diablo. Like when even though I jumped in late in the game, there was still a healthy amount of people playing. There was a healthy amount of trading. There was a healthy amount of grouping, and it was weird because once again, I've never been in the forefront of the game. I've always been catching up. Right. So I'm like, what's this chat room?
What's this chat room? Huh?
What are people talking about?
Get out of here, noob.
yeah, definitely noob. And I remember my friends that I would play, I remember calling them on three-way and putting my phone on speakerphone before I knew about TeamSpeak and all that. I would be like, hey, so what do I do now? How do I start a room? I remember having to be handheld on what to do, how to play the game, all through speakerphone.
Yeah, that's definitely old school, man. Yeah, because when this game was new and all my friends were playing, they're like, "Hey Ryan, do you have Diablo 2 yet?" I'm like, "No, because my computer can't run it." They're like, "You newbie."
I remember playing it on 56K. I legitimately played it on 56K. And it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad on a 56K.
No, it wasn't that bad. Every now and then you would get lag. And I remember talking to my friends who had DSLs, I was like, why are you catch up, hurry up, hurry up. Oh man. See, this game brings back a lot of memories. Because I told you, the three-way thing, I don't know if you remember, but back in the day you had to wait till after 8 or 9 o'clock to use it whenever your free minutes. Yeah. So I was just waiting for the clock to turn, just to call them up and hey, what do I do now? I don't know if you remember the first time you came across Wakanishu.
It sounds familiar.
The little imp.
Yeah.
He just runs around, he's crazy, he's just Wakanishu. I don't know how many times I've died to him.
Oh really? Yeah. I think I died to him a lot too.
Because he gets, depending on what random enchantment he has, he can be difficult.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I'm telling you, I lost a lot of my life to this game.
Oh, were you able to find the secret calendar?
Yeah, after someone told me how to do it.
Yeah, I remember that.
The secret cow level. Oh man, what a trip! I was obsessed with it because all the cows, they would just run around and be like moo 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 moo. So I started doing that in real life.
Oh really?
And I'd be out around with my friends and we'd be like at Walmart or Target and I would just start mooing because you know you separate and I would just start mooing trying to find them and it's like moo 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 moo
hey.
moo moo and then like you just hear like a random moo.
So it's basically Diablo in real life in Walmart.
Oh no. And then the girlfriend at the time, like she got so used to it, like whenever she wanted to be cute with me, she would like randomly moo at me because I would randomly moo. Like I started randomly mooing at people. Oh god, there's so many memories. My favorite cow level memory though is I got a friend into it, and he was brand new and he didn't know what he was doing really, and we kind of like he was holding his hand and playing the game, and we took him to a cow level.
Okay, cool.
And my friend was playing a necromancer, so he raised the dead. So he raised a bunch of cows.
Oh shit!
So he had a cow army, and we all teleported back into town. And he started freaking out because he thought the cows followed us into town. He didn't realize that my friend had a cow army of raised dead.
Right.
And he was just panicking, like, "What do I do? The cows followed me back."
Shit.
Just freaking out over like a crappy speaker. Oh man.
Yeah, like I never really got to play it online because in 2006, like not many people were playing it at the time.
I don't know, man. Not too long ago, I reinstalled and people are still playing.
Okay.
I don't know, but that was never a game, like, for me, I'm not really social.
Yeah, I mean, I just played for a single player.
Yeah, but that's not really a game where, like, you play with a lot of people. Oh, unless you're my friend. Like, the guy who freaked out about the cow level.
Yeah.
He kind of sucked at the game. He wasn't good. So he figured he was gonna just do other stuff, and he started trading a lot.
Oh, really?
There was like special rooms where people would just go in and trade gear, and eventually he got like all of his really good sets.
Oh, nice.
Because all he did was trade. He's like, I'm not good at the game. I'm not gonna get really far. So let me go get the best gear in the game. Like he started with like I forget what he started with. He had nothing. He would just like trade like he would go into random people's cow levels,
right,
and not actually kill the cows. Just be like go in there and like loot all the free stuff that people would leave behind. Because once you were really good, like you would leave blues, gold, like you would leave gear behind.
Okay, cool.
So he would start with that.
This is all new to me, so
he would start with that, like, and he would like slowly work up, and he got like full sets, dude. Like for my friend's necromancer, for a friend's Amazon, for himself, he played a paladin, which is hard to believe he sucked. Right. And then yeah, he got me like a couple sets for the druid too.
Okay, cool, man. Well, now that we have the third Diablo out, and now we have 3 Diablo games, like, for someone who has not played this, who has not played any of the games of the series, would you still recommend Diablo 2?
Yes and no. No, if you want to be social. But if you want to be social, I wouldn't recommend Diablo 3 either, because it's not really... It's there, you can easily do it, like, you can have a clan. It's not even a guild, it's weird.
Right.
And you can play with other people, but unless you're only playing with people you already know, it's hard to like make friends in Diablo. It's not really set up that way.
Yeah, I know.
It's not really set up, so it's kind of like if you're looking for that experience, you're gonna have to search really hard on Diablo 2 because the player base has gone down a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
The player base has gone down. But do I recommend it? Yeah. Go and play it.
I totally recommend it.
There's a lot of Diablo 3 made a lot of improvements over Diablo 2, and I'm not a fan.
Alright.
I mean, I still play Diablo 3, but Diablo 2 is just a better game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, I would definitely recommend Diablo 2 for anyone who wants to start playing Diablo, because I think the first one is a bit too hard, and the third one is a little geared more towards beginners, but I would say 2 is the most balanced out of the 3.
That's the thing, though. You could play Diablo 2 on the first difficulty setting, have a good time, play the game, go back and forth, get gear, and you can even play it in the second one. But once you get into like the end game, like that's when the game got really difficult.
Right. Yeah.
That's when the game was just like, okay, your class is not viable. You know, your druid, your little druid that you made your own little spec for, or you think you're so cool. You know, no, it's not gonna cut it. You're gonna get slapped out.
Exactly. Yeah, so anyways, you can still buy Diablo 2 from the Blizzard store. You can tie it to your Battle.net account. It's really, really cheap, and you can also get the expansion with it too.
You can go like Walmart and buy the battle chest.
Yeah, there you go too. You can also go that route. Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. I'm Ryan, and the game we're going to talk about today is Full Throttle. So, out of all the LucasArts adventure games for the PC, Full Throttle was my personal favorite one. This game had a pretty awesome plot, pretty awesome characters, a pretty awesome setting, like a biker setting, and like you had a pretty awesome voice cast too, like Mark Hamill, Kath Soucie, Nick Jameson, and all these awesome voice actors that you probably heard in like every cartoon ever. So I remember my first exposure to this game was when I went to this computer store called Egghead Software back in mid-90s. I saw this game playing on the screen and I was like totally blown away by its animation and its voiceovers. Yeah, and I told myself, man, I want to get that game. And it's kind of funny, like my friend let me borrow Dark Forces for the PC, and it came with a demo of Full Throttle, and I never really beat Dark Forces because I spent more of my time playing the Full Throttle demo rather than Dark Forces. Yeah, so kind of after my 8th grade graduation in 1995, I went out and purchased this game because my parents gave me a whole bunch of money, and I remember I got as far as the part where you're in the junkyard and you have to avoid the dog, and I didn't really know how to get past the dog for the longest time. Yeah, so once I kind of figured out how to get past the dog, the rest of the game was pretty smooth sailing from there. I remember beating the game pretty much in about 3 to 4 days without any help, especially since I didn't have the internet at the time. And dude, there were like so many memorable moments of this game that if I were to explain them all, I mean, I'd pretty much be spoiling the entire game, and this video would be like over an hour. So if I had to choose maybe one or two, the first one is when you have to go into that guy Todd's trailer, who's played by Mark Hamill, and then Ben has to kick down the door, and then Todd's just lying down unconscious after you kick the door. And Ben is like, "This view defines true beauty." Yeah, and one of my other favorite parts is when Ben is accused of killing Maureen's father, and so he's kind of like tied up and being pulled apart by motorcycles, and then there's this one part you can choose, "I'm gonna call you names," and I remember that being really funny. Yeah, and I really enjoyed the combat scenes, especially the first one where that one guy from the rival gang is like insulting you and you're like, "That does it," and you're like, pow 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 pow, just knock him off the bike. And I've played through this game like so many times, I can still kind of remember the beginning kind of heart for heart almost. Like, "You're waiting for me to die, Rip Bugga, so you can take over my company." Yeah, and my major disappointment with this game, well not actually the game itself, was there was never a sequel, because I know LucasArts was going to make a sequel and they did have a screenshot of it, but it never came to fruition, which really sucks. I mean, I know like the main voice actor for Ben, Roy Conrad, passed away in 2002, so I don't know if that was the main cause, but yeah, they never got around to making the Full Throttle sequel, man. Yeah, and the reason why Full Throttle is so good is because it was directed by the legendary Tim Schafer, who did Day of the Tentacle, Grim Fandango, and most of you probably remember him for Brutal Legend. Well, sadly, since LucasArts is no longer in the gaming business, you can't really get this game anymore on GOG.com or Steam, so you pretty much have to go on eBay and buy the CD-ROM. And you have to use Scum VM to play it, which plays it perfectly, so I highly recommend doing that. Yeah, so that was Full Throttle for the PC, one of my personal favorite point-and-click adventure games. And I hope some company, Disney, will pick up where LucasArts left off and release this game to work on modern computers. Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. I'm Ryan, and the games we're going to talk about today are Call of Duty. Because I wouldn't really have a lot to say about one Call of Duty game, and because you played one, you kind of played them all, I'm going to talk about the games that I've actually played. So I admit, I'm kind of a casual Call of Duty fan. I mean, I don't really hate the series like most people do. I mean, I know it's the butt of all video game jokes like Madden, but I really don't think this is a bad series, even though I know sales for the series has been dropping a lot in recent years. So I remember when the first 3 Call of Duty games came out, I didn't really play them. I remember I didn't play World at War, but the first one I played was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, the original one. And I remember really being blown away when I played that game. I don't really remember a lot of it. I just remember it being so immersive and detailed, and it's like kind of happening right now because it's modern warfare. I mean, I remember fighting through the news station. I remember fighting through the ship. I also remember being in the helicopter and bombing this farm. Like the environments in that game looked amazing. Now, the game that everyone remembers is Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, so with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, they took everything you loved about the first Modern Warfare, which was Call of Duty 4. So wouldn't Modern Warfare 2 be Call of Duty 5? I think they stopped numbering the series after that. Yeah, so we'll call it Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, so there's a lot that I remember about this game. I mean, I love the fact that they took everything I loved about the first Modern Warfare was incredibly immersive environments, incredibly detailed environments that you interacted with. Like everything that was happening around you, like you were so submerged into it. So I remember in this game, like you fought through Burger King, or restaurants that look like Burger King. I remember my favorite level in this game was when you fought in Burger King, Modern Warfare in Burger King. It wasn't called Burger King, but still, like you were fighting in convenience stores and restaurants, like destroyed restaurants. Like you were fighting in residential areas that were like messed up, and you were fighting in like Washington D.C. in the White House. Yeah, so after that, I played the first Black Ops, which was really cool. It takes place like during the Vietnam War and stuff, I think. You're in the present, but then you go back in the past. And then I remember, like running in the rain on the roof, and then you have to find that submarine. I don't remember too much after that. And then I also remember playing Modern Warfare 3, and I was really looking forward to this one. I mean, it didn't have a lot of the civilian environments like Modern Warfare 2. Then I played Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which I found pretty cool. I don't remember too much of that either. I just remember it being a lot like Black Ops 1. And then the last Call of Duty game I played was Call of Duty Ghosts. I remember when you start the game, like you're in space, and then after that you go down to the ground, and then there's this massive earthquake, and you're running through these houses. I didn't really play too far into it. I mean, I was kind of getting sick of the Call of Duty games being a yearly thing by that time. I also remember playing multiplayer in these games. I wasn't really that good. I was better at Halo multiplayer because you could take a couple hits before you die. In this game, like you take only like 1 or 2 hits and then you're dead. And I was really terrible at the multiplayer in these games. I did a really terrible Let's Play of Black Ops 2 a couple years back, which you can kind of click here and take a look. Yeah, so now there's Infinity Warfare, Advanced Warfare, Your Mama's Warfare. I mean, I think now they're taking this game into the future, they're taking it into space. I mean, okay. I mean, how much further could they take the Call of Duty series? I mean, I remember one of the EA representatives saying, Call of Duty is going to be remembered like Star Wars. I mean, well, I remember Chewbacca, but I don't remember any of the characters in these games besides Shep and Sokolov. I mean, I know the games make money. I know the games have been dropping in sales too. I mean, I actually would consider playing a Call of Duty game again if they actually had one take place during like the Civil War, like Gettysburg. Like you're fighting with the bayonets. I remember my 8th grade trip. We traveled through Gettysburg, and I'd like to see a Call of Duty game taking place in that era. Or actually what they can do is they can still kind of make like something like Modern Warfare, like your main character is like playing like a war game on his Xbox in the game, and then after that a war just breaks out like right outside your house, and like you're in first person looking at it, and then like you have to run and escape, and you're rescued by the army, and so like then you go through military training, and have like a Call of Duty that like takes place like that. Or maybe just bite the bullet and have a Call of Duty take place in space where you're fighting aliens. I mean, reminds me of a certain game called Halo or something. Or better yet, have a Call of Duty taking place in a convention where, like, you see cosplayers all dressed up and shit, and then after that war breaks out and everyone's running, and then after that, like, like you're the trained military guy, taking a break, and like you're on vacation, and then like you have to protect all the cosplayers and all the panelists and all the celebrities, and like, carnage is just going all over the place in like a convention, and you have to protect them and shit. Yeah, come on, Activision. I think you can pay me to come up with Call of Duty ideas? Yeah, so that kind of wraps up my little Call of Duty retrospective. I mean, I think these are pretty good games. I don't think they're super great games, but they make money. They're fun to play. I mean, they're fun games to play on a weekend because I could beat these games, the single player campaigns, within like 2 or 3 days, and I'm kind of done with that. Yeah, so if you want to get any of the Call of Duty games, they're easily on sale anywhere. I mean, you can like download them from Xbox Live and PSN, or you can get them in the bargain bins at GameStop or places like that. Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. I'm Ryan, and welcome to the world of Warcraft! Orcs and humans. There existed a time before World of Warcraft where all the Warcraft lore began, and that started with Warcraft Orcs and Humans, released back in 1994. Alright, so my first experience with Warcraft was reading PC Gamer at the store back in like 1994 or so. I saw this preview for a game called Warcraft Orcs and Humans. I saw the cool looking box art with the human soldier and the orc looking at each other like, and I saw that top-down view of the orcs and the humans fighting, and I said, wow, this game looks pretty cool. So a couple of months later, my dad bought a sound card, which came with a demo of Warcraft. So I installed that in my old 486, and I thought, wow, this game is really, really cool. So back in 1994, when I was a kid, I obviously chose the orcs, and I remember hearing that first mission, Black Hand has sent someone like you to the swamps of sorrow.
Black Hand has assigned you to an outpost in the swamps of sorrow.
Yeah, so there's one thing about Warcraft. If you play it now, the controls are kind of clunky, because you have to hold control to select all your units, and you can only select maybe 4 units at a time, which really made it difficult to control multiple armies of units in battle. But back in the day, you kind of got used to it. I mean, it wasn't really that bad back in the day, but I just recently kind of replayed it on DOSBox, and yeah, it was a bit hard to get used to. Yeah, so I remember the demo only came with like the first 3 levels for both races, and I played the hell out of them, so I really, really wanted the full version of this game. But surprisingly, I didn't get the full version of this game until after I got the full version of Warcraft 2. Now, like, this was around like 1996, 97. Yeah, so playing Warcraft 1 after playing Warcraft 2 was a bit jarring, especially in the controls department, but I ended up getting used to it, and there were kind of a couple of things I liked a little better in Warcraft 1. Yeah, so if you purchase any of the Blizzard games back in the day, like Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2, and Diablo, they would come with these really, really awesome manuals that would explain the story and the lore in really, really great detail. I mean, I remember reading the first Warcraft manual, learning about Sir Anduin Lothar, Garona, the half-human, half-orc, and especially Medivh, the wizard, who I was really, really interested in learning because I played Warcraft 2 first, and Warcraft 1 later. I really wanted to know more about Medivh, and then I remember the mission in Warcraft 1 where you had to go to Medivh's tower and actually kill him. And I found that mission pretty difficult because you only had a limited amount of soldiers and you couldn't build any soldiers back in the base, and I kept failing at that mission so many times, but eventually, I would just save and reset. I'd strategize it a little differently and I'd prevail. Yeah, I think one of my favorite memories about this game was playing as the Orcs, and there's this mission where you had to kill Black Hand's daughter. I think her name was Griselda. Griselda, the Orc, which is pretty funny.
Find Turok's band of rebellious pigs and kill them all, including Griselda. She must not disobey the commands of her father, ever again. purpose.
And so, like, one of my favorite things about this game, which they actually took out in Warcraft 2, were the wizards. I mean, what I liked doing was I liked to summon elementals to fight for me, so I would have my wizards in the back and have the elementals go out and kill stuff. I mean, and even if the elementals died, you know, I could still wait for the wizard to recharge and, you know, summon just more elementals. I mean, especially during the human campaign, like, the elementals kind of saved my ass a lot. Yeah, probably one of the most memorable things about the Warcraft series, which most people know, was the voice acting. The voice acting in this game was awesome, especially the orcs, like, Swovu, Ita, your command master. Especially the ones when you would constantly over-click on your units and they would get annoyed with you, saying like, stop touching me. And yes, these games had cheat codes in them. I kind of used them, but I really didn't use them a lot because when you would like beat a mission, they would give you the rank of cheater, which was definitely appropriate since you cheated, obviously. So through most of Warcraft, I played it without the cheat codes. So I remember the difficulty of this game being fairly average up until kind of the last third of the game where the difficulty kind of spiked up, especially the last missions of both races where you had to storm Stormwind Keep or you had to, you know, take out Blackrock Spire where they had like a zillion soldiers, and especially with kind of the awkward controls, which kind of made it difficult to manage your units in these really, really heated battles. So you had to save and reset a lot in this game. So does the original Warcraft Orcs and Humans really stand against the test of time? Kinda yes and kinda no. No, because obviously this was the first Warcraft game, so the controls are very awkward. Like I said earlier, you have to hold down control in order to select all your units, and you can only select maybe 4 at a time, so especially during heated battles it gets really, really difficult to manage all your units. And like the graphics aren't really the best, but they were really good back in the day. Yeah, but also the original Warcraft Orcs and Humans didn't have like 10 gajillion units you could choose from. Mostly I stuck to using, you know, grunts, soldiers, and catapults, because catapults were really, really useful in this game, especially in the second game. Yeah, so would I really recommend the original Warcraft Orcs and Humans? Definitely, if you're a Blizzard fan, if you're a Warcraft fan, definitely try it out. I mean, you're gonna have to get used to the controls, but it still has a really, really good story. It has really great gameplay once you get used to the controls, and it will really introduce you to the Warcraft lore far before World of Warcraft. Yeah, so where can you find the original Warcraft? Right now, at the time of this recording, you can't really get it like digitally. You'll have to look for the original CD on eBay, and you'll have to play it on DOSBox. From what I heard, Blizzard is working on porting these games over to modern computers, but there hasn't really been any progress. So maybe in the future there will be, and I will definitely buy this game again. But hopefully they will fix the controls for this game by just, you know, making it easy to select all your units. Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome memories about video games. I'm Ryan, and the game we're talking about today is Warcraft 2: Tides of Darkness. Oh man, if I were to name probably my personal favorite PC game of all time, it would have to be Warcraft 2. Because take everything you loved about the first Warcraft and make it better, bigger, more colorful. I mean, everything has been improved in Warcraft 2, like times 100, man. Now honestly, I could probably talk about this game for hours or probably even forever, but I'm probably going to keep it short for this video, don't worry guys. So if you watched my previous awesome video game memories about the original Warcraft Orcs and Humans, I kind of played the games in a kind of a weird order. In 1994 and 95, I played the demo of Warcraft, which came with my sound card that my dad bought. Then in 1996, I played the full version of Warcraft 2. And then in that same year, I went out and purchased the full version of Warcraft 1. Then in 97, I played Warcraft 2: The Dark Portal. So I kind of played the games kind of back and forth. So the first thing I noticed when playing this game was not only were the graphics more detailed and more colorful, the controls were much easier. Now I can just drag my mouse and select all my units. And I remember starting up this game and watching that really awesome opening cinematic, seeing the orc ships go towards the human base, and the humans getting the cannons ready, and holy shit, man, like, wow, like I felt like I was playing something in the future, man. Like this full motion video looked great back in the day. Yeah, so with the improvement in the graphics and the controls, also came the massive improvement in gameplay. Like, you had so many more units for both races to choose from. I mean, like, you had the dwarves for the humans, and the elves with the archers, and for the orcs you had the ogres, the two-headed ogres. I'm ready, master, I'm not ready. And then you had the trolls. Who do I keep? You're the boss. And man, you had and also, like, you had naval combat, you had air combat, you can attack from land, sea, or air. Man, this game was amazingly more massive than the previous Warcraft. Like, this game took a massive quantum leap over something that was already great but still flawed, and molded it into perfection with Warcraft 2, Tides of Darkness. So I remember reading the manual for this game and really being blown away by the massive amount of detail in the story. Like, you had Orgrim Doomhammer now taking over Blackhand's place. And then I was really surprised to learn that the humans lost the war, and it took place 6 years after the previous war. And one of the craziest things about this game was, I remember in the first game, Lothar was one of the big heroes of the first game. And then in this game, he actually dies. Yeah, so Blizzard has kind of this knack for killing off their really popular heroes, especially when you get really attached to them, like especially Lothar, and a couple of the Warcraft 2 heroes in Warcraft 3, which I won't spoil until I do the awesome video game reviews on Warcraft 3. So one of the best things I liked about Warcraft 2, even better than Warcraft 3, is kind of more of the ambiguous storytelling. I mean, a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, because Warcraft 3, they had cutscenes to tell you what was going on. Where in Warcraft 2, you just got some cinematics, you had some mission descriptions, but you kind of had to kind of interpret the story for yourself. And I remember, like, there was a map inside the instruction manual, and so what I did when I was playing the game, and I played the game like multiple times. So I printed out the map, and I would draw lines indicating like where the armies were going and which armies were there, like Lordaeron, the Horde, the other orc races, like who you're playing as. Yeah, I was pretty nuts about this game. Yeah, so one of my personal favorite missions in this game was during the Orc campaign, where Gul'dan, one of the warlocks for the Orcs, he betrays the Horde and he gets the Eye of Sargeras.
Gul'dan and his Stormreaver clan have betrayed the Horde!
And he goes like to the Tomb of Sargeras, which is like this really simple looking map in Warcraft 2. And they actually really expand upon this in Warcraft 3, which I found pretty cool, but that was actually one of my favorite missions in the original Warcraft 2. Yeah, so just like Warcraft 1, the difficulty of the missions tends to spike up kind of halfway through, but I actually found Warcraft 2 maybe a little bit easier than Warcraft 1, but I'll talk about the Dark Portal later. Like, I didn't find myself struggling with the missions as much in this game, as much as I did with Warcraft 1. And like, there were some missions where you were required to use the ships, you were required to go by air. One thing that really made this game a little easier for me was you can actually have like little dwarves or little goblins that explode, and I thought using those really helped. Like, I would have just like sent them. Like, there's this one mission for the human campaign where you're in the snow, you have to attack an orc base, and it's a little difficult to attack from the front. So what I did was I made like a lot of dwarves that could explode, so I would actually have them explode behind the trees behind their base, and then I built a barracks like right behind their base and started sending in my soldiers that way, which made it a lot easier than attacking the base from the front. Yeah, so I mentioned how cool the opening cinematic was, and you get all these really cool cinematics as you play the game, but my personal favorite one would have to be when you win the Orc campaign, and they're like, "Dog!" and they storm the castle, and like the king is like, "Guards! Guards!" One thing that made me laugh so much was when like at the end of that cinematic was when like the orc and that guard like clash, and then the orc's just punching the shit out of that guard. For some reason that just cracked me up so much. It's so awesome when that orc just stands there like, "And you are the master of the Horde." And so I remember reading that Warcraft 2 was gonna get an expansion called Beyond the Dark Portal, and I was wondering, dude, how do you make this game, like already perfect game, even better? So I bought the expansion, and I remember playing it, and I'm like, wow, this expansion is really, really hard. Like, not only did they increase the difficulty, like for every mission, like they placed like 5 or 6 armies like all across the map ready to kill you like any instant. So like you really, really had to make sure you balanced what type of soldiers you built. So you had to have towers to guard your base, and then you had to have catapults to make sure you attack from afar, because you just couldn't really rush into a lot of these battles in the Dark Portal. But what was also cool is, the Dark Portal expanded on the story, saying like, hey, we have these new heroes like Khadgar, and then there's Ner'zhul, who, if you read the Warcraft lore, he becomes someone pretty big, and Orgrim Doomhammer actually loses the war, but he's a prisoner under Lordaeron's rule or something like that. Now, if there's one thing I have to say, which is my personal favorite thing about this game, it would be the map editor. Oh my god, did I spend hours upon hours making my own maps in this game. Yeah, it was kind of funny. The first map I ever made was when the movie The Rock with the Sean Connery, the Nicolas Cage, Ed Harris movie, which is my favorite movie of all time, was new when I played this game. So I built a map that was like Alcatraz Island, where you had to play as Goodspeed and a Mason, a souped-up soldier and a souped-up mage, trying to get past The Rock. And it was a really cool map. I mean, if I had a floppy drive again, which I could probably buy a USB floppy drive, I'd probably upload it. And also, the good news about this game is I was actually able to play this game online multiplayer with my cousin. And my cousin was like an expert at this game. I got him into this game. He absolutely fell in love with it. I mean, he made even more crazy maps than I did. So when I played him and his friends online with my 33K modem, he did this really asshole trick where he would go to my gold mine, he would build an arrow tower. So whenever my peons or my peasants would go get gold, they would die. I was like, what the fuck, man? But that was really freaking ingenious. Oh boy, so I probably talk about how much I love this game long enough. So if you want to play this game, you probably have to get the original CDs off eBay. I know there's the Warcraft 2 BattleNet edition, which I have, which works probably up to Windows XP, but I heard that it doesn't work on 7 or 8 or 10 or modern computers. And I heard Blizzard is working on making these games playable on modern computers, but they haven't made any progress with it, so you have to play these games on DOSBox. So Warcraft 2, Tides of Darkness, and Beyond the Dark Portal are truly games that withstand the test of time, and if you can play them, believe me, you will not be disappointed. Oh, and also, if you insert this game in a regular CD player, you can hear not only the game music, but there's this really cool remix at the end. Welcome to Awesome Video Game Memories, where we talk about awesome video game devices. And the device we're talking about today is the Elgato Hd60 Pro. So this is a sponsored video by Elgato. Elgato was kind enough to send me a review unit of the Hd60 Pro. So if you're interested in getting one for yourself, you can get one with the affiliate links down below. So I've been a huge fan of Elgato's products for a very long time, and we've used them for the majority of episodes of our BattleGeek Plus Let's Play show. And I've used Elgato products like the HD60S for my Resident Evil 7 review. Mia, are you okay? Holy shit! Hey Mia, get that knife away from me! Get that knife away from me! Actually, speaking of which, where is my HD60 Pro? Oh. Thanks, Rob. So the HD60 Pro is an internal card that fits into your PCIe slot, so just find a spare PCIe slot and you're good to go. Hey guys, now that the HD60 Pro is now tight and snugly fit inside my system, here is the main Elgato interface called Game Capture HD. So this is how we are going to capture regular footage, so let me turn on my PlayStation 4. Alright guys, so here's my PlayStation 4 working perfectly on Game Capture HD, but make sure that you go to System and disable HDCP, or else you cannot capture with the Elgato. And the problem is, if you disable HDCP, you can't watch any Blu-ray discs or DVDs, so make sure to turn it back on if you plan on doing that. So yeah, here is the PlayStation 4 menu. Everything looks great, guys. Alright, so now let us try it with some other consoles. Alright, so here's the Elgato working with the Xbox One. Works perfectly. And now that we've switched over to the Nintendo Switch, I made it funny, sorry about that. It works perfectly with the Nintendo Switch. Alright guys, now you're wondering, well, how does this thing work with consoles that aren't exactly an HDMI, like the NES and some systems like that? Well, in order to get this thing working with the NES or anything with regular AV cables, you have to get an AV to HDMI converter. These are pretty cheap on eBay for about 15 bucks. So here is the NES working with Castlevania 3. There we go. See, we see the film. Now the quality is pretty decent. It's not perfect, so I would recommend getting something like a really expensive FrameMeister to make it look a lot better. So yeah, here is some of the gameplay. Yeah, well no, I didn't put the help me code because this is just a demonstration with the Elgato. See, look at Trevor Belmont with this awesome ass cape. Looking good, Trevor. Looking good. And I'd like to show you how this thing works with the Famicom, which I used on my Zelda 2 Famicom stream. So here is the Famicom working with the Japanese Super Mario Bros. 2 on the Famicom Disk System. Now loading. There we go, we have the trademark information. Alright, there we go, Super Mario Bros. 2. Let's see a little gameplay. Yep, looking good, Mario. Looking good, my friend. Dope! And I bet you guys are wondering how this works with component cable systems. Well, you actually need a component to HDMI converter, which is not very expensive. I got mine on eBay for $10. And here's the PlayStation 3 on component cables. Now, the reason why I have PS3 on component cables because the PlayStation 3 has HDCP enabled by default, so I use the component cables whenever I want to capture or stream off the PlayStation 3. Alright guys, now I'm going to show you how the Elgato captures footage. So all you just have to do is once your console is all ready and loaded up, you just press the nice record button. Although first, I highly recommend that you go down here to tags, change the video title to whatever you're playing, like the Tomb Raider. And Tomb Raider. Alright, so now all you just gotta do is press record, start the game, and you are ready to go. And you will get a nicely captured file once you are done recording. I'm gonna show a little bit of the title screen. Alright, so once you're done recording with the Elgato, it will save the files to a directory that you specify. I made my own directory on my editing drive under Elgato Capture, so you get a nice looking MP4. And I do recommend using Windows 10 because Windows 10 is the only thing the Elgato HD60 Pro will work under. And also Windows 10 makes it a lot easier to process MP4s and TS files in any of your editing software. I personally use Adobe Premiere.
And also, if you want to stream online, the Elgato software Game Capture HD does have a built-in streaming feature, so all you just need to do is go up here to live streaming, select the service you want to stream on. I actually have it on YouTube Gaming right now, and then just head down here and press the stream button. It's that easy. And also, if you're wondering, yes, the Elgato works perfectly with open broadcast software, aka OBS, although I do recommend using OBS Studio version over the original. And also, to make sure that the HD60 Pro doesn't lag while you stream, make sure to set your profile to HD 1080 and make sure you checkmark allow 60 FPS, or else it's gonna look like a jumbled mess like this. And also, one of the best things I like about the Elgato HD60 Pro, since it's an internal capture card rather than a USB device, like one of the problems I had with the past Elgato like the HD60 and the HD60S is that it would kind of lose signal once in a while if the USB connection wasn't strong enough, especially in the middle of a stream, which was really annoying. But with the HD60 Pro being inside my computer, I have not had that problem, and it has been a convenience ever since.
So in comparison to the HD60S, the HD Pro retails for about $199.99, but you can get it on Amazon for about $170. But regardless, the HD60 Pro is worth every single penny, and I highly recommend it for your game capturing and streaming needs.
Hey everybody, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, especially subscribe, and make sure to click on that notification bell so you know when we release new videos, because YouTube's probably not going to tell you. And if you want to see me play games live, make sure to follow me at twitch.tv/BattleGeekPlus, and if you have a Twitch Prime account, make sure to subscribe so you can get awesome perks like subscriber badges and much more. And if you want to support us, make sure to support us on patreon.com/RyanMolina, because every dollar helps me bring you a better show. And also make sure to follow me on Twitter at @RyanMolina and at BattleGeekPlus. And also make sure to check out the official Battle Geek Plus website for a complete listing of our books, merchandise, t-shirts, and a lot more. Alright, thanks for watching this video, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out these other videos right here. Thanks and take care.